It's Toddzilla here at Corner Music. I'm here to show you today a brand new amp that we're really excited about. Gypsy Amplification Series 50. This amplifier is built somewhere around Illinois and Iowa border. And the gentleman that's building these brought them to us. And he said that one of the things that he's trying to do with the amp is emulate, kind of the influence is Ken Fisher's train wreck amps. Now, if you know anything about train wreck amps, they're extremely rare, extremely sought after. His original amps anyway. Mr. Fisher left us. He kind of checked out of this planet 2006. But his amplifiers, his original amps, are very legendary for their unbelievable sweet tone, both very responsive, cleans, and really great dirties. So the Gypsy folks are emulating, in a sense, they're kind of, by design wise, they're taking a lot of cues from the original train wrecks. What you end up with, it's a one-channel amp. It's really set up very nicely. You just got volume, treble, middle, bass. You have a presence control, a depth control, which some of you guys would refer to that as a resonance control, where you can throw in a little bit extra bottom end, and then you've got your master. You can play it on vintage or modern settings and take advantage of either a really tight and punchy tone on the modern side, or a very kind of saggy and vintage, real sweet, drippy tone on the vintage side. 50 watts, KT66s, and it's just a monster. Listen to this thing. I can go really punchy little tight clean stuff, and then I can turn around and make it breathe fire. Woo! This thing is a beast. Let's check it out. The Series 50 gets its name because it's 50 watts. It's Class AB. It's not a Class A amp, but it's single channel. High voltage tube boost, which is switchable. You get a foot switch with it, and you can actually turn the boost on and off with the foot switch, of course. It also has a pot on the back of the amplifier that you can vary the amount of boost. It can get anything from a kind of clean, bring my volume up boost to, again, make it breathe fire, because you can drive it as hard as you want to. The effects loops are available in solid state or tube driven, and both are serial routing, buffered, and full bypass switchable. You've got a switch on the front end that's a combination switch that goes from high cut, and then in the middle it's just kind of standard straight down the middle of the road kind of voicing, and then a bright voicing at the top. You got a master volume that operates post-phase inverter, and then what that does is that retains the real woody tone characteristic of those big bottle KT66 power tubes at lower volumes. So even when you turn this thing down, you're going to still really get a real fat, juicy tone. This thing's built like a truck. You got premium components and switching in there, military grade with premium brand everything. It's got what he says is the finest wiring and layout techniques using turret and point-to-point and printed circuit board. So it's not one of those amps that, oh, is it all point-to-point? There's a lot involved. This thing is, again, it's over-engineered, as you can expect. You got custom-made transformers, and you can get Mercury magnetics, you can get Hammond or classic tones. He has new old stock preamp tubes, and he says, you know, they simply sound better and they're susceptible to less filament noise. He uses silver wire and solder for maximum electron transfer, strength, and reliability. Now, all that really means is it's really fast. When you have it built the way this thing is, it's going to be really tight, really fast. It's going to be very responsive under your fingers. He uses a 12-gauge aluminum chassis with stainless steel hardware. And he's got a lot going on. The new amps are they're burned in. He burns them in himself. He calibrates them all before he ever sends them out, and everything is set just so that the thing is just literally tweaked and timed just right. It's like setting the timing on your car. This thing is really, really, really tight. The cabinet is beautiful. It's as over-engineered as the amplifier. It's 11-ply birch, and it's a finger-jointed construction on all the cabinet work, so it's not going to fall apart over the years. You know, it's all really, really, again, tight, and everything is really, really made well. You've got this wonderful wood grain front. He says he can stain it any color you'd like. He uses real high premium quality quilt and flame maples, as you can see, and it just is a really, really, really beautiful amplifier. The preamp is equipped with hand-selected and tested vintage tubes. I mean, he hand-picks every one of these tubes so that, and he tests them all so that he really, really has it voiced exactly the way he wants it before he sends it out. The KT66s are the standard power tubes that he uses. They're really fat sounding. That's going to give you that really, really juicy tone. And this amp is really, really touch sensitive. He's got a solid state rectifier, and it ultimately creates this package of this amp that just, again, it just sings under your fingers. And as soon as I heard the amplifier, I was just knocked out by how responsive it was. The cabinet that you see here is a single 12 with a special design Weber speaker in it. He's also done this really great trick. He's got this open panel on the back where you can make it closed back or open back. It's completely convertible. And you don't have to take the way he's got it engineered there, you don't have to take the door off and lose it somewhere. It's actually still connected to the amp. It just opens up, folds down. Lets the speaker breathe a little bit so you can get that open air combo kind of vibe. Okay, the controls on the amp are very simple. You got volume, treble, middle, and bass, just like the Trainwreck would have. You have the bright and high cut switch here. You have a presence control and a depth control. Now, the depth control is what a lot of people would refer to as maybe resonance control, where you add a whole lot of bottom end if you want it. It just kind of makes it that much more versatile. Then he's got his master. You've got the vintage and modern switch, of course your standby, and your power switch. On your back panel, you can see you've got your AC input, you've got your bias points here where you can adjust the bias. You have your fuse. It runs off a 2 amp slow blow. You can run 4, 8, or 16. Obviously, got to have a speaker put on the head at all times because it is a tube amp and you will blow it up if you don't put a speaker on it. You've got send and return for your effects loop, and notice you do have an on-off switch for the loop. That is a complete true bypass for the loop. Again, the loop can be either solid state or tube driven depending on what you want out of the amplifier. You have the gain control and the tone control and the volume control for the boost. That's all just to control the boost. So you can tweak the tone of the boost pretty highly. You can see in the back here, this one's got mercury magnetic transformers. You've got the KT66s. And this thing is it's built amazingly well. You just take one good look at it. It looks like a fine-tuned machine. On the back of the cabinet here, he's got this great access opening where you can open it up to play it open back. It drops down and it still stays attached so you don't leave it at your gig and get mad at yourself later on. Got a little bit of space in here where you could store your cables or whatever if you want. As you can see, it's got the great Weber speaker that has been specially designed for this amplifier with the makers of Gypsy. Very, very cool little design there where it's very convenient, and again, you just won't lose it. That's the most important part. So right now I'm on a setting where the boost is off, and obviously depending on where I set the volume control versus the master is going to affect the amount of gain I got. And if I roll my volume knob back, you can hear how amazing that gets. It really cleans up. And then just at the flip of a switch, you got a real nice crunch. Now if I engage the boost, you hear a lot more of that drive sound. Okay, also have the bright switch here. Right now I'm on the setting in the middle where it's just kind of this straight up down the middle of the road kind of setting. Then with the bright switch, you'll have just a little bit more touch, a little bit more chime and jangle. And then with the high cut, it does the opposite. Every time that you get into that, you can really kind of feel the amplifier holding back on you, which is really, really cool. Right now I'm playing on the vintage setting. That kind of makes it sag just a little bit. It does that famous sag thing that everybody talks about. It's kind of a little drippy and a little behind you. But if I go to the modern setting, it becomes much more tight, a little crisper. And especially when you get into the drive with the boost, a lot more of your high harmonics will come out. You'll hear a lot more stuff jumping out. The thing that I really, really was taken by about this amplifier right off the bat was its construction and how really, really, really well built it is. It's a very, very beautiful, very attractive amplifier with this maple front on it. And, you know, I even really, really like the script and the knobs and everything that he's got going on here. It's just a really, really good looking amp. Doesn't look like anything else. We're really, really excited to have the Gypsy Series 50 at Corner Music. Y'all come see us and get you one.